I don't browse X often, but I have some good stories to share with you. Tons of creepy stuff happens in the woods I live near. Story 1. B8. Exploring the woods alone with my dog one morning. Don't expect anybody to be back there, so my dog is off the leash, running around, sniffing, whatever dogs do. I'm just following trails set by other animals. I'm using a stick to clear spider webs in my way and suspicious-looking plants, stuff like that. A creepy feeling gnaws at me the deeper I go into the woods. Hear what faintly sounds like a human screaming in the distance. Dog perks up and looks at where the scream came from too. It's coming from deep in the woods. I stand there unsure what to do, and feeling overly confident, I decide to follow where the scream came from. It's my first time in the woods alone too. Dog just went back to sniffing and running around. After what feels like half an hour, I come across stuff that humans obviously left. A couch sitting in the middle of nowhere, broken bike hanging in a tree, lots of beer bottles hanging around too. Looks like some kind of teen hideaway. Carefully walk around the beer bottles and avoid all the crud lying around. After I walk a decent distance past, I hear a scream behind me where I came from. Realize the dog has been gone for a while. Too scared to call my dog's name and draw attention to myself, so I just stand there awkwardly looking for any signs of anything. Kind of crouch down and walk back. Still bright daylight, so I should be able to see anything off in the distance. 2 minutes later, I hear heavy breathing. It's getting closer, and fast. Start freaking the fuck out, look around, swinging my stick like a maniac. Suddenly, dog jumps out of the bush, then past me. Bloody murder, thought some madman was about to kill me. Scold the dog silently. Realize dog shouldn't be going ahead of me. Run to grab the dog's collar and put a leash on. Continue my ninja walk towards where I thought the scream came from. Didn't see or hear anything after what feels like an hour and a half of searching. Walked back home. Didn't tell my parents what I heard, because they'd just freak out and not let me back in the woods. Story 2. Maybe a year after the last incident, so 9-ish at the time. Riding my bike in the woods with my friend, morning again. Friend is easily scared, thinks there's snakes around every corner, poisonous spiders that'll hunt them down alive, etc. I calm him down and tell him I walked those trails 1,000 times, probably actually only 10 times. Find some trail that I never followed before. Now, the creepy feeling starts to build up again on the back of my neck. Ignore it and keep going. I want to see where this trail goes. Friend complains that it's creepy. Trees, plants are all dead. I tell him it's fall. Of course the trees are going to have no leaves and look dead. Actually, fall only just began, and trees are only turning orange and red, and most of the plants still have leaves. I'm getting scared myself, but nothing's happened yet, and I want to explore this new trail. I come across a cabin in the middle of a field of grass. Friend doesn't want to approach it, of course. I ignore him and walk boldly ahead. I actually knocked on the door. Nobody answers. Push open the door and I look back. Friend is gone. Hear a scream coming from the cabin. Run away. Look back. Cabin door is closed while I was looking. Didn't find my friend until the next day at school. Story 3. This time it took place at night. I walk in the woods all the time with my dad. He loves nature. He wants to go out again tonight. Both of us bring a flashlight and my dog. Dad is holding the leash instead of letting the dog run around because he doesn't want to lose the dog and have to look for it in the night. He finds the teen hang spot with the couch and the bike hanging in the tree. Just keeps walking past it casually. Dog is obviously freaking out though. Whining, trying to pull Dad away. Dad and I keep looking around for whatever it could be that's freaking out the dog. Dog starts barking. We smack the dog to quiet it. Now I can smell wood burning. Ask Dad if he smells it too. He nods, but we don't see any fire. Figure maybe someone's smoking or something, but it doesn't smell like that. Whatever, we keep walking because there's no flame. I shine my flashlight around and see 2 glints appear midair off in the distance. Move my flashlight back and it disappeared, but the bush around it is moving. Pull my dad's arm and whisper what I saw. He shines his flashlight at where I was looking and doesn't see anything. Dog still refuses to calm down. Half an hour later, we hear what sounds like wolves or coyotes howling. Wolves and coyotes are rare around here, but they do exist. It's enough for my dad, and we walk back home. Dog starts pulling ahead with all of his might, slips out of Dad's hand, and Dad and I scream for his name. Too late, he disappeared off into the darkness. We chase after him, calling his name. I look back behind me. I can see a dark shape disappear behind some trees in the moonlight. I look forward and keep running. Dog actually ran all the way back home. Story 4. By the way, these took place in the early 90s. Sorry, I didn't have a camera back then. Didn't go in the woods for a while. Sat around and played video games, ate, watched TV, typical American fat boy stuff. Decide to go again one day, probably 11 this time. I remembered that cabin in the woods, and I asked my friend, a different friend, if he wants to check it out too. He brings his dog and I bring mine. Walking to where I think the cabin is. It's after school, but we still have many hours of daylight left. We're just chatting away while our dogs chase and play with each other, run around sniffing, etc. Dogs disappear after a few minutes, though. We call their names and they come back, but then they jog away again, same direction. We follow and find a dead deer with an enormous gut cut full of maggots and juices in it, and the head is missing. Poke it with a stick. Typical stuff kids do when they encounter death. Ignore and keep walking. Half an hour later, we find another dead one. Again, the head is missing. Joke with my friend that deer skulls are used for dark magic. That's weird. Finally, we find the cabin. We're staying off in the distance, but in the clearing and in clear view of the cabin, debating if we should go check it out or not. After a few minutes, see a window curtain move and a shape looking back at us. My friend sees it too. Definitely has a hairy as mask, actually looks like a deer's head. I didn't make the connection until a year later. We were stupid back then. We stand there not knowing what to do. Figure in cabin moves the curtain back and disappears. 2 minutes later, another curtain opens. This time it's upstairs. Same figure. It stares at us. We're getting nervous about what it's planning on doing, but we're too curious to leave. So we just stand there looking at each other for what feels like 10 minutes. Curtain closes and figure disappears again. Now we're getting scared, wondering what it'll do next. We walk back in the woods and hide behind trees while watching the cabin. The cabin door opens. Same figure with hairy mask. Steps out on the porch, looking for us. Starts walking towards us. Oh shit, we Usain Bolt it back home. Later my friend says we have to go back, but I refuse to go back there without my dad. Story 5. It's a monthish later. We go back with friend's dad and my dad, so 4 of us. We left the dogs back home because we didn't want them to get hurt. Both dads brought a gun. We lead them to the cabin, midday. Dad outright walks up to it, fuck everything else. Knocks on the door. Nobody answers, so Dad starts to body slam the door. It opens and we all go in and search the whole cabin. Nobody's there. Finds alcohol, food, gas, all necessities in the cabin. Dad debates burning down the cabin because nobody should be running around terrorizing little kids. What? What if that's just someone's house and you just broke into it and you want to burn it down just because he looked at you from the window of his own house? Decides against it only because ultimately we're little kids and he can't take our words that seriously. As we leave, I look back and it's fucking there. Curtain open, deer head, everything, staring just at us. I pull my dad's arm and just point. We all see it. Dad starts walking back to the cabin. Figure disappears as quickly as it notices us walking back. Cabin door is locked this time. Dad curses and kicks it harder. Dad actually shoots the door handle in desperation. Still doesn't open. Fuck it. Dad breaks a window and hops in. What? We all get in, nothing out of place to be found. We can't all be imagining shit, and we surely didn't lock the door when we left. You just saw the guy in there! We leave. This time Dad decided we'll spend the night in the cabin at some point late. Oh my god. I'm watching the cabin the whole time. Once again, curtains open and the figure is standing there watching us. Still drives me nuts to this day that it can disappear and appear like that. Story 6. A year later, Dad still remembers his promise. Makes the preparation to spend a week in the cabin. Uses vacation time, everything. He's a determined There's no way, bro. Friend, his dad, and the 2 dogs are coming along too. We actually see the figure upstairs as we're walking towards it. We get to the cabin just before dark and knock on the door. Of course, we're ignored. Body slam time. Breaks open with less effort than last time. We get in, search the whole place. Of course nobody's here. Set up camp. Water, food, books, guns. We all slept together in the living room for protection. Dad decides him and friend's dad will take turns staying up. We didn't need to bring a lamp and oil, already was here. We light it and use it throughout the night. We told each other ghost stories and shit like that late into the night. Dogs started barking in the middle of the night. Wake up to find the lamp burnt out. In the moonlight, I could see a figure outside looking in from the window. Freaked the fuck out. Figure disappears under the window behind the wall. Both dads jolt awake and grab their guns. Nobody else saw the figure, but this time we're more careful. All of us shared the watch duty this time. Nothing happened for the rest of the night, but holy shit, I was still freaking out that it got so close without alerting us. Next day we cooked our food and ate breakfast. Just pretty much a normal camping experience for the rest of the day. We stuck together close, though. Friend and I went exploring in the woods with my dog. I was entrusted with a gun. Dad and friend's dad kept the other dog. In hindsight, it was a stupid idea to let us back in the woods like that. If you fear for your child's safety so much you have to give him a gun, just don't let him go. So we're walking around following trails, just having fun. Dog is kept on a leash though, because in the back of our minds, we're both terrified. Maybe some 20 minutes after exploring, we find another dead deer without a head. Man, this is getting old, I recall my friend saying. For me, it was just more evidence that it's still around. We find some stream and throw rocks into it. I set down the gun against a tree, and my friend lets go of the dog to let it run around as we relax and chat about girls. Eventually, we can't ignore the creepy feeling anymore. I get my gun, and we call the dog over. It doesn't come back. We nervously walk back to the cabin, still calling for the dog the whole time. Dad and friend's dad were sitting around in the living room with the dog resting in between them. When we get back, Dad asked if we found anything interesting. No, but now the dog went missing. He just froze for a moment. I don't think he even breathed. Calmly got up and everybody went looking for my dog. Never came back. We kept looking around until just before dark. We went back in the cabin to find everything trashed, all the water gone, all the gas gone, and all the food and bullets were thrown around outside the cabin and stomped into the dirt. The guns themselves were emptied of bullets and our flashlights were destroyed. Bullets are useless. We don't have any food or water or any light. Serves you guys right for breaking into somebody's house and setting up camp for a week. We still had a handful of bullets, one gun, and one flashlight that we brought when we went looking for the dog. We decided to spend the night in the cabin instead of walking through the woods in the dark with barely any protection. Decide to huddle together again in the living room. This time, 2 of the 4 people are on watch duty at all times. Nobody slept well that night, so really all 4 of us were awake half the time. Whenever someone had to use the bathroom, we took the dog and the flashlight with us. Late in the night, we could hear footsteps in the basement. How big is this frickin' cabin? It has a basement and a second floor? Come on. Dog perked up its ears and I woke up my friend. Dad grabbed his gun and everyone just listened. Sounds like footsteps just walking around. This continues for maybe an hour before my dad decides to go check it out. None of us want him to go alone. We all huddle around him as he holds the gun and slowly opens the door leading downstairs. Everybody get on the floor, walk the dinosaur. Fuck off. Just kidding. Perfect time for that, though. By the time the door creaks open, the footsteps have stopped. Dad actually stands at the top of the stairs for what feels like a minute before he took another step. All of us step down after him and reach the bottom of the stairs, flashlight searching the whole basement. Basement is pretty empty. We checked everything. It's just not there. Impossible for it to pass us on the stairs. Suddenly, we hear footsteps upstairs. What the actual heck? How does it keep disappearing and appearing like that? Dad runs upstairs in rage. We all follow after him, trying to stop him. We see the figure is already outside, running away into the woods. Dad takes a shot at it, then tries to chase after it once the bullets are gone. That ain't happening. Friend's dad, friend, and I all restrain my dad. Dad finally calms down half an hour later. Everyone stayed awake the rest of the night. When the sun was high enough, we all headed back home without further incidents. The next day, Dad and I came back to set the cabin on fire so it had no place to live. Moved away a year later. Friend didn't. 3 years later, I called my friend just to get back in touch because we haven't really talked to each other in so long. It wasn't long before we started talking about our experience. Friend said he went back a few months after we moved away. Said the cabin was still burnt to the ground, but something was weird about it, and he hesitated to go further. Of course, I had to ask what was weird about it. Friend tried to avoid my questions, but I persisted. When he went back, the rubble from the cabin had been rearranged. It now formed a perfect circle of charred pieces around a perimeter of where the cabin stood. Nothing inside of this circle except for one solitary thing. Sitting in the middle of the circle was a headless, almost completely decomposed body of an animal. "Another deer?" I asked my friend. "No," he said. "Your dog." "So you guys broke into the house of some dude who's just trying to peacefully live in the woods and mind his own business. So what? He hunts some deer and he likes messing with the heads. A lot of people hang buck heads up on the wall. That's not crazy. And then you break into his house, try to stay there for a week, and then you burn it to the ground? What is wrong with you?" Surprised there aren't more stories about cornfields. Gillespie Cornfield outside of Perry. Every Halloween, go on a long ride with my friends from high school to Gillespie Field. There was a path through the corn wide enough for perhaps a tractor that led to a large circle. Not quite like a crop circle, but it sure gave off that sort of vibe. B17, Halloween 2010. Lots of Marine friends and hunter friends this year. Friends of friends this year. Huge ass party. We eventually had to start pulling the cars out of the circle because it was getting too crowded with 6 cars worth of people. It's getting to be 2 in the morning. People start to drift out, about 20 people left all in all. "Hang on, come get some of this beer." At age 17, you can imagine I was pretty thrilled to be allowed in the older kids' games and all that. And there was this super hot chick, Trina, I don't remember, who was all over me. Drunk as a fish in a whiskey barrel, but all over me. Too shy to initiate anything, but I did get to see her boobs because she took her top off. Dwindled down to 10 people or so. Me, 5 hunter friends, 3 marine friends, and 2 civilians, not including me. "Let's make a fucking bonfire." 10 minutes later, there's this huge fire pit going, and we're dancing around it pretending to be Native Americans doing a ritual, laughing and having a good-ass time. No big deal, right? Hush washes over everyone. We all got the same rush of sudden unease and anxiety. Everybody freezes, more or less in the positions we'd been dancing in. Goofy as shit, but nobody dares to make a sound. Only sounds are the sounds of a giant fire in the pit. Standing around for almost a minute before somebody whispers, "What happened to all the crickets and shit?" No wind, no crickets, no birds, no nothing. We stop dancing, thoroughly put off, and my buddy Joseph, a hunter, goes, "Guys, I'ma go get my rifle." Murmur of agreement. The other hunters break off to go with Joseph and grab their shit, mostly pistols and knives besides Joe. Marine buddies, Kate, Samuel, and Ed, sit down in what I can roughly describe as a perimeter sort of thing around me and the other no-training folks. At this point, we're too nervous and anxious to talk. We're barely breathing. There's not any noise, just the fire pit's crackling and a slight rustle in the corn, and it's starting to get a little disconcerting. We sort of stuck close together and kept wide, worried eyes on the stalks. Kate says, "Something's not right." Mutual agreement, but nobody could put a finger on it. Ed sucks in a breath, and everybody jumps a bit and looks over at him. "If the wind is gone, the f*** is making the corn stalks rustle?" Swear to God, I nearly pissed myself right there. We're all about 5 seconds and a sneeze away from needing a change of clothes when Joe comes back, white as a sheet, alone. Joe's pulling the bolt back on his rifle and sprinting back to the campfire circle. Tosses his pistol to Ed. "Joe, what happened? You look like you saw Sam's mom." Joe sort of glares at Ed and then hisses, "Don't you joke right now. There's something in the corn. I'm not messing around." Now see, around there we're used to big dogs, large cows, and even the occasional oversized cat, so everybody sort of gave Joe this slanty-eyed, "the f*** you saying" sort of look, like he's trying to freak everybody out more. We keep trying to get him to tell us where the others are, what happened to the other 4 he went off with. Says they stayed at the cars to protect them. Rustling in the corn. Joe immediately wheels and takes a shot. Right next to my ear, you cocksucker. Immediately, feelings of fear and anxiety intensify. Some sort of low whimpering noise is coming out of the corn now. Joe is gibbering like a drunk, muttering incoherently. I'm about to take the rifle from him when I notice that he's got some sort of black slime smeared on his pant leg. Then I nearly shit myself again, because what crawled out of the corn was not a dog. Not in a strict sense, I guess. It was shambling sort of awkwardly, with what looked like a broken leg, maybe a dislocated shoulder. It looked like it had, at some point in time, been some sort of hound dog, a black or dark brown bloodhound. There was chicken wire wound around its neck like a noose, and it was coated in flies. There was black sludge dripping from its jowls and oozing out of a bullet near its right eye, which itself was drooling that same black crap like tears. Joe lost his mind at this point, and Sam and I had to wrestle the rifle away from him. It kept shambling out of the corn towards us, wheezing and spitting that black shit onto the ground. The flies numerous enough that I could almost hear them buzzing from across the clearing. Joe is losing his mind, collapsed on the ground, and was trying to go fetal as me and my marine friends try to haul him away. The dog just kept walking, and as it kept coming, it dragged something else out of the corn behind it, attached to the chicken wire still around its neck. It took a second for me to piece it together in the light of the fire, but attached to the end of this morbid fucking umbilical cord was a beating heart, like a bear-sized, still bleeding, leaking heart, thumping away and leaking that black sludge shit. The flies were having a field day with it. The dog had no eyes for us. It was staring directly at the fire, like it was mesmerized or something. It dragged itself off kilter towards the fire, wheezing and spitting and sobbing, the heart beating excitedly on the chicken wire behind it. Its back legs were mangled, and it sort of dragged itself along on its front legs and one back leg. The weird thing is, as it got closer to us, I swear to God I thought I could hear some sort of words every time the dog wheezed and whimpered and cried. I didn't stick around to listen. Nobody else did either. We grabbed Joe and beat feet back to where the path to the cars were, making a wide berth around the dog and its cargo. Before I left, I had to watch. I'm pretty sure the others had the same feeling because they weren't very far ahead of me when the show was over. I stopped and watched as it dragged itself, heaving and coughing, closer to the fire. The flies didn't even veer away when it stuck its head in the fire. It burned like someone had tossed a tire in there. It stunk something fucking fierce. I just had to watch because the dog didn't stop moving when it had been engulfed by the pit. The chicken wire kept moving, dragging the heart into the flames after the dog until they were both gone. And the only way anybody could have known it was there was by the trail of black sludge on the ground and the smell of burning rubber. We were halfway home when I finally looked over at Joe. There was something that had been bothering me since the thing had gotten close enough to us for me to really hear it. I asked Joe what it had said to him because I was almost positive that's why he had been so freaked out. It had been next to him in the corn and he'd heard it speaking to him. At first, I thought maybe I was wrong because he gave me this weirded out glare and he wouldn't say anything. Then he took a deep breath and leaned over to me and whispered this sentence in my ear. "Come with me. I'll bring you home." And for a second, I felt very odd, because that was what I had heard too. What I think I saw that night was Beelzebub. I'm not a noob, so I know that he's not the devil, not in the actual rhetoric, he's Lord of the Flies. I don't know why he appeared to us that night, what he wanted, or what brought him there. I don't even know if what we really saw was a demon. Maybe it was just something in the corn. There's lots of stuff in the corn nobody really wants to talk about. At any rate, I moved out of Iowa, so I didn't have to worry about the corn or what I saw. I should probably try to reconnect with my friends, but I'm afraid. I'm afraid that I'll find out that Joe died in a fire or slit his own wrists. Sometimes I have nightmares about it, and I think maybe Joe does too, which is why I'm afraid that I'll find he lit himself on fire someday. I keep a matchbook under my pillow because sometimes I kind of want to do it just to see what it would be like. I don't really believe in the paranormal, and while I dig those threads, I never cared enough to go hunting for cryptids, even as a joke. That being said, I had one hunting incident that absolutely did feel paranormal. Be me, hunting in Maine, for fun, not anything else. Don't even really hunt, mostly just chill and wander, shoot a rabbit a day if anything. Handgun and Hedge Henry rifle because yes, I'm exactly that kind of guy. Only out for 3 days this time, and I'm already on the 3rd day. No drinking today since I'll drive home overnight, and it's a 5-hour drive. Want to leave at 0 since that's always been my tradition. Want to eat the rabbit before I go, obviously, so I end the day at 1800, only a 2-hour walk from my car. Set up camp, small fire for the rabbit, blanket for me, and that's it. Cook, listen to audiobook, chill. I'm going to turn to cliches right about now. This is when things got weird. Rabbit comes up to the fire. Second rabbit comes up to the fire. Mouse comes up to the fire. Keep in mind, my camp had A, a human, B, fire, and C, the extra sound from the audiobook. No chance any animal wouldn't stay away from that. Another rabbit. 2 more mouses. I'm seriously weirded out at this point. They don't come close to me, but they stay by the shine of the fire. A fox comes up to the fire, just the same. Doesn't attack the rabbits, the mice, ignores me, just staying on his legs, ears back, by the fire. And then I heard rustling in the trees around, very obviously something bigger. I'm still weirded out more than I'm afraid, despite being a massive pussy. No idea why. I absolutely don't want anything bigger than a fox trying to chill with me, nonetheless. Animals around me ignore me completely now. Same with each other. They follow the rustling in the bushes. Weird as hell. Starting to get freaked out. In case it's a human, I call out, and nothing happens. Enough is enough, so I fire off a warning shot. In the air, I don't want to actually hit something that might get angry instead of dead from being hit with a .22. Circling in the bushes stops. All animals watch the same spot, and I do too. Rustling comes back, but seems to leave. Change guns. Wait around for 20 minutes with my animal pals before they start leaving the campfire. Sounds of rabbit and fox behaving like they should have all the time coming from their direction. Pack up, leave, and make my way to the car as fast as possible. Drive home without stopping, and I don't go back there. I still don't really believe in the paranormal, but I'm way more inclined to do so now. No idea what could have gotten the other animals to behave like that and come up to a human with fire and sounds for what I can only guess would be protection. The bar I work at is haunted. I don't really believe the stories, but I find them interesting nonetheless. Most of them are pretty bland though. Guy goes to the bathroom, sees a man taking a piss in one of the stalls, doesn't hear anything, just sees the guy's feet. After he finishes up, he glances back at the stall and nobody's there. Just little things like that. Another one I've heard a lot is when people are starting to get quite drunk, they'll see a nun sitting next to them. She doesn't say anything, but it usually makes them stop drinking. Obviously, since it's a bar, I tend to chalk this up to people being very drunk and open to suggestion. The ghost stories are kind of known. But recently a barback told me one. This guy was straight-laced, didn't drink at all, and only worked there for a couple of months because he hated the atmosphere. One night after closing, he was helping the bartender clean the bar. Bartender steps out for a smoke. Barback is behind the door, sanitizing the well, when he gets an eerie feeling and happens to glance up. There's a man sitting opposite him at the bar, staring angrily at him. The barback is looking into the guy's eyes when he fades away. Not disappears, but fades, as though he melted into the background. Again, I don't really believe it, but the guy seemed genuine. Here's another longer one that I believe even less, but it happened just recently, so I'll share it. A fellow bartender was out for a smoke on the sidewalk, and a homeless guy came up and asked him for a cigarette. Long story short, the bartender ends up hiring the homeless guy to clean the bathrooms for $10 a day. Homeless guy's name was Derek. He was a great worker. He'd always be out there on the front stoop waiting on me to open up the place. Then he'd clean the bathrooms and mop the floors without saying a word. I'd pay him $10 and he'd leave. But one day I showed up at the bar and the door was already unlocked. Derek was inside sitting on the couch waiting for me. I asked him how the hell he got in and he said the place was unlocked before he showed up. Nothing was stolen. The closing bartender insisted he locked the door before he left. Tell the owner, but he just seems happy nobody stole anything. This happens 3 separate times. Since nothing is ever missing, the owner refuses to fix the security cameras. They don't work. The owner is very shitty with money, by the way. Anyway, last week, we're about to get hit with a winter storm, the one that knocked out the power grid here in Texas. It's Saturday, and Derek's waiting out front, shivering. I ask him if he has a place to stay, and he says he does. Okie dokie. Once Monday rolls around, people are losing power all over the place. Since I live basically down the street from the bar, the owner tells me to see if the bar lost power. Thanks a lot, dickhead. I drive by and it looks fine. But I get out and run inside to check on everything. I find the door unlocked and Derek on the couch wrapped in a thick blanket. These blankets are kept in a basement that's always locked. The power is on, so it's warm, but Derek is shaking like he just got in from the cold. I ask him if he's okay and how he got inside. He said he was sleeping on the stoop when some lady opened the door and let him in. He curled up on the couch and felt someone put a blanket on him, and then I showed up. There was nobody else in that bar but us. Like I said, it's hard to believe. Maybe the just figured out a way to unlock the door and was lying to me. But I double-checked the basement that we keep those thick blankets in. It was locked up tight. Be me, helping my old man, who's a trucker, with a load of sod that night. Heading out from Vegas around midnight to Green Valley Sod, near the state line, to pick up sod. Stop on Winding Road, near state line. Gotta piss. Hop out, walk a ways behind the flatbed. Piss. Feels good, man. See something out of the corner of my eye. Try to look, but keep wanting to avert my eyes. Keep looking around and feel slightly nauseous. Turn around. Truck is gone? The fuck, man? Weirded out because I know my old man wouldn't have left me on the road like that. Start walking around in the general direction of where the truck was. Still nauseous, and it's getting worse. Walk about a mile, really creeped out. Nausea getting worse the further I go. Dizzy as fuck now too, and finally pass out. Wake up. It's nearly dawn, and I'm in an ambulance. What happened? Apparently, my old man went to check on me when I didn't come back. Couldn't find me. Called the police. They found me, passed out, half a mile ahead of the truck. 6 years later, after I served in the Navy, some friends of mine were fucking around on Fremont Street. There's an old woman with some hokey-looking gypsy wagon that does tarot readings and shit, so, being a few pints of moose drool in and a WMD each, we decided to have some fun with the woman and get some readings done. She gets to me, and third card in, tells me I had some encounter with the Fae in the past. So, now I'm curious, and ask her to explain. 20 minutes later, I'm enraptured, asking about how a person would know when they are around and shit. Tells me I had accidentally stumbled into their world, and apparently they decided to push me out, and that I was lucky. Creepy as shit. The woman was almost dead on, without me telling her anything about that night. 1995, working at McDonald's. Closing for the night, working alone, ass-backwards street. Basically a truck stop at this point. Tubby Tits and her 3 hippos come in. Order a McDicky for each one. Shoo them out after they get their grub. Get a call from manager. Tells me to lock up the fryers. Lock them up? They aren't going anywhere. Ask them why. Look, you're the new guy. Just follow my instructions and we're good. If you can't, then leave. That was hostile. Find multiple steel plates about 1 inch thick or so. They each fit over the fryers perfectly, with little lock hoops and everything. Secure each one with padlocks. Leave to drop a massive Duke in the toilet before heading out for the night. Hear a colossal bang. Sounded like a car hit the fucking building. First response is to check the toilet to see if I gotta post this to Guinness or something. Upon not seeing an award-winning turd, I investigate the area. Finding nothing out of place, no walls broken down, my car is totally fine, no accidents on the freeway. Notice one of our ceiling lights randomly blew out, broke the fucking plastic layer under it too. Walk under it to try to get to the other side of the area to get a broom real quick. Trip and fall flat on my face. Look down to see one of the steel plates, completely dented. Looked like a battering ram just hit this thing at Mach 3. Bullshit, what happened to the lock? Hippo Bango couldn't have come back to do this. Call the manager, tell him the fryer exploded or something and screwed the armor plating. Jesus Christ, get out of there right now, you dumbass! No need to tell me twice. Next morning, ask him what the f*** is going on. Got the scoop. New guy came in about 3 years ago. Came in and was working a night shift. Ended up getting murdered by a pissed off trucker. Turned on the fryer, made him wait for it to heat up, and drowned him in it while frying his fucking head. Well. Be me. Be wandering in desert. See kid on bike. Kid pulls out jar. Kid is collecting tarantulas. About to say hi. Maybe steal his bike so I can get home quicker. Train horn in the distance. Kid takes off on bike. Damn it. Follow. Hoping to catch the kid and steal his bike. Approaching train tracks. Train stopping. Bunch of guys at train trestle start hooking up hoses and shit to the train car. What? And stay hidden. Stupid kid on the bike just stands there and watches. Realize the guys are stealing some chemical. They don't see the kid. Guys unhook hoses, and the train starts moving. One guy hops off train. One guy looks like he got run over. Realize he stayed low on the tracks and didn't die. Guys shout, laugh, sound happy. Finally notice the kid. Kid waves. You poor dumbass. Watches blonde guy pulls out his pistol and drops the kid right there. Other guy screams no real loud. Stay hidden. Pray they don't see me. Motherfuckers take kid's body. Take his bike too. Damn it. They never spot me. Kid reported missing. Face on TV. No idea if they ever found his body. Had to walk home. Never told anybody until now.